Assalamu alaikum. Assalam. Thank you guys. Assalamu alaikum. It's me, Sulayman Ben coming on Facebook Live. I was not meant to be on. I was meant to be on an interview, but unfortunately, interview could not be heard, and I decided just to bring come on an update on three separate issues, and I've been taking a time off to leave the space for the political nominations to go on, but I decided to come on because we had pending issues being discussed, and to update on those issues, and probably by next week we'll have time to follow up on these issues. And if you just bear me a minute, let me share this video on my timeline, and I will on my page, and I will start this program. Thank you guys, thank you. The reason I was going to have an interview today, it was just to introduce to my followers that most of my programs will be coming live from the Gambia 24 TV. The program will be coming live from the Gambia 24 TV. Obviously, I'll be sharing it on my timeline. And the reason for this, I was approached by young Gambians who are behind this platform, the Gambia 24 TV. They are non-political, they are independent, and they approached me for support. Due to that, they need Gambian content, and apparently they've been following my content, and they want me to help them share my content on their platform to help them build their platform. I agree based on few issues, main issues. One, to support young Gambians to build themselves up, especially in the media. I am not a media person, I'm not a journalist. I don't monetize my content. I don't monetize my content for my personal reasons. I don't want to. I don't mind other people monetizing it. The more the word spread, that's where my interest is. I am supporting them because they are young Gambians who want to develop themselves, had a platform, And I said yes, and they are independent. They are non-political and they're independent. And as far as my due diligence, they are people who are associating with. They are people who are supporting. That's why I will be bringing my live content on their platform and sharing it onto my page. I would ask from my followers to support them. I've asked from viewers to support them, to follow them. I have invited people to like their page so that they can get the alert and follow them and follow us. And the other thing, I need to say that because of the nature of my work, I cannot dedicate specific time or dates. I've done that 4 years ago. I used to do that. I mean, because I had to arrange to ensure what I promise I deliver. I used to come on a platform Tuesdays and Fridays on certain specific time, and it's daunting because I had to rearrange everything to make sure I have that done. Unfortunately, at this moment, I can't. Obviously, at this moment, I can't dedicate that much time and on it, but I will try as much as possible. What I can do, I'll do it for them. And that's the first update I wanted to give, and that's what the interview was meant to be. I appeal again for people that follow me, that who want to hear the contents, to go onto the Gambia 24 TV. And most of my followers are invited to like the page so that they can get the notifications. The other aspect I want to talk about is on the side of the politics. We are at a moment, at a very critical moment, and we are hoping, praying, and appealing for every Gambian to be very responsible to ensure we go through this process. It's a milestone coming through. It's the maturity of our democracy being tested. It's very important to see us through this nomination, and after this nomination to see us through to the presidential elections. And the outcome, the peaceful outcome of the elections would be important to Gambians. It will give us indications of where we are going, how mature is our democracy, or how mature are Gambians on what they want from their country. And as if we continue that's how our democracy develops. We have expectations, though our expectations are not met all the time. But one most important thing is, if we conduct anything we do, regardless of the deficiencies, if the peace and stability of that country is maintained, we have achieved. The freedoms are protected, we have achieved. Then the other achievement is for us Gambians again. It's not rest on any particular leader, it's rest on us Gambians. And so we hold them accountable to ensure they deliver. And the failure of the delivery is what we are testing now. If Gambians decide to vote for Barrow, that means that that's what they contend with. That's okay with them. And Gambians will have to live through that. But as myself and other people who advocate as I do, we are not satisfied. That's why we are in this. We have a dog in the fight. That we are not satisfied, and we need to see Gambians to do more to ensure we change this. And as we come to this stage, and we're going to pass this stage, and will be more interesting after every candidate is nominated and they qualify to run, and we know the candidates to run. But be rest assured again, it's going to be a two-leg race or three-leg race, or whatever it is. That's it for Gambians to decide. Decide that I don't want to see Barrow continue. I believe in my candidate. I believe in my party. I'm going to do this. This is what politics is. At times, some people will just decide that, look, this is the candidate I believe in. This is the political party I believe in. I am going to support them regardless of what the perceptions are or what the realities are. This is where I am. Other people would be realistic or be strategic, or you call them whatever it is, or pragmatic, to say that, look, this would be my candidate, but unfortunately they have not reached this milestone. They have not get to the expectation of here, and this is what is at stake. Where do I put my vote? I rather have the incumbent, Barrow. I am satisfied with that, I put it there. Or I'm not satisfied with Barrow, I'll give it to UDP. Or if there's a third leg, I'll give it to the third leg. I mean, as they say, I know the word independent can make people at times confused. I know independent do make people confused, but independent doesn't mean that you don't sympathize with a political party or group of political parties. And independent doesn't mean that you don't have interest in what is going on. Because of reasons, people have to keep their voting opinion, voting this thing private. For reasons, strategic or whatever reasons, they want to keep it private because of they don't want to and they want to insulate themselves because they don't want to compromise certain principles or compromise their professional. They might have different reasons, but at the end of the day, every citizen would have where they are inclined to act. As I said, at times, it's not where you put it. Because of pragmatism, you said, I rather stop this party, or I rather stop this president and vote this way. But end of the day, that's your choice. End of the day, that's what democracy brings us. That's end of the day, that's what we fought for. That's why we have to ensure we have the tolerance to do this in peace and stability. But it will come to a time that certain things we cannot compromise with. And for me, I am brought up in a political environment, not in my household. My household are not political. My parents are very conservative. They don't do politics. We have never raised a flag apart from the Gambia flag. Does not mean that they don't vote. They vote. And I have a particular story. When my father once said where he who he voted for, I was shocked. I thought I know where he would be voting for, but he said no, I've never voted that way. That's how it is. I've never even known where he votes. He have never expressed his opinion on where he votes. But I grew up in an environment that is very politically charged. That's what framed me and my opinions. Be it the activism, and this is about the civil rights. Yes, the civil rights movement was in the Gambia when it was in America. We had the messages. We have seen our elder brothers and sisters doing their manifestation, their solidarity to the civil rights movement. We have heard about the Panthers. We heard about all those movements. I mean, that's that environment. I mean, Moja was our childhood and growing up to youthful age, and to an extent we participated in the Moja, whatever it was, and the politics of the inauguration of the NCP as a child, it was in our presence. We have seen the euphoria. We sat between elders and heard all the politics and of what was going on. Certain things that are never shared in the open. That's where we had some of the little wisdom we have about politics to understand it. Some of these things have been ever with us, but never said in the open. It was something always said behind the scenes. We know about the prejudice. We know about the ignorances because we lived through them. These things are not new. We live through them. But one thing and one thing alone is when politics happen is church. Nobody would, I'll tell you that. Even during the colonial days, when they used to have only certain settlements in the Gambia taking part in politics, the colonists, it was church. When it comes to politics, we church. But after the campaign, everybody goes back to normal. And they all go and the same thing will affect them. The same thing will affect them. It was the same thing in the PPP. It will be charged, a place like Baka will be completely charged up. That's the politics. But once it's votes are counted and declared, look, we forget about that bit and we continue who we are as a society, as people from background. This is what is expected on us. It's not new to us. But that have changed. That have changed. When we live in the 22 years of dictatorship, what we lived with, the politics we lived in, is matter of fighting evil. Matter of fighting evil. It was fighting democracy, it was fighting our freedoms. But it was mainly fighting our freedoms. The systems and anything that follows was never a priority, was never talked of. We didn't have time for that. If man is about to die, they don't think about other things. They just think about that thing that strangled them, to try to get it out of their neck, to survive, to breathe. That's what we went through the 22 years. And look, I cannot be here to say that I know exactly everything that happened in 22 years. And there's no person who can do that. Unfortunately, we have the TRRC, we could not. It was not constituted right. And after, I mean, they lost their track. And we see the proof now. They cannot even come up with the report. But I'll tell you, I don't think even half of what happened have come through the TRRC. I don't think that half of what happened have come through the TRRC, no. Then we have to be very careful to understand then the magnitude, the amount of people who are victims that are not known. In most cases, victims don't come out. Or when they come out in different ways. Because some of the things that happen to them are stigmatized in society. Are stigmatized in society, rape. And this is rape on men, rape on women. Men been sodomized. Men been sodomized. They would not. Have you heard any person that comes on the TRRC to say that they have been sodomized? And I know a few. And they will never come out. Women been raped. Some have never come out in open. They will come out to reach out to certain people or certain networks to get support. Some might not even do that. Some might not even be known in their family. Marriages been break up within, because the stigma in divorce, in stigma especially for elderly people. Some parents are living together, but they are technically divorced due to what the dictatorship did to them. And I know people will say death is the worst. Yes, death is one of the worst, I say. Death is not the worst. Dying and living. Dying, I mean, death inside you. Hope and everything else taken out of you. Been wounded inside and cannot get healed. Cannot even be shared to start to find, to be healed. Death for, the challenges they face. Families that have lost everything because of the breadwinners, and they finally become victims. Some of the youths you see outside, they are manifesting. Yes, they have issues with drugs and others, but do you know what led them to that? Can you identify some of them, who their parents are? If you knew who their parents are, you will know what we're talking about. Most of the things have not been dealt with. The people who have disappeared, do you know how many people have disappeared? And we have not been talked about at the TRRC, and their parents and families, loved ones, still don't know. One thing they know, that it's in the hands of the dictator. These are grown-up people. These are people that will not take irrational decisions to leave the country without anyone knowing where they're going, what they're going for, and others. We went through that, mountains of things. And people who have directly, physically been harmed, been tortured. And it varies. And this is across the board. This is not on a specific tribe, it's not specific regions, not specific, it's just everywhere. To the extent of even people been kept in exile. and they lost track of their families, and they've lost track of giving the other support, not the financial, because most of the time when they go out, people can do gifts of financial support, but there are other supports they could not give, and that have affected their family, affected the relationship with their families. Look, we can go on. That's why I said, first, my problem with Adama Barrow is this. He doesn't care. It's not that he finally seen him, no. I am not at a level that I'll wait for things to hit me before knowing that it's coming to me. I'm very observant. And my observations were since Adama Barrow was in Dakar, I said it. But again, I talked about Mama Kandeh since he came back. I mean, coming on board 2016. But Gambia, we like simplicity. We don't want to be critical. Simple excuse, that's enough for you. When I have my suspicions, I dig in. I dig in, and thank God I have the background, I have the professionalism, I have expertise to dig in, to get to the bottom of things. And I made my observations then. I still hold on to it. And as I said, matter of time, some of these things will be comprehensively put there for history to be. Actually, the TRRC deny me the opportunity to do that. I've written a statement on the TRRC to explain the political entrenchment of Yahya Jammeh. And we had never had that version of how politically Yahya Jammeh was entrenched. I've written a statement based on the causes of the coup. Why did we have the coup d'etat? If people talk about the disgruntlement in the armed forces, what causes the disgruntlement? Who were the people behind the disgruntlement? I've not given the opportunity, but that's it. I will take that opportunity, inshallah, if I still have my health well. I mean, everything is written in place, and if I didn't have the time to do that, someone else would pick it up. The rest assured that, but history will be narrated. That brought me to where I am today. Two, the alliance Mama Kandeh have with Yahya Jammeh. If you have a deal with the devil, if anyone would have a deal with the devil, or entertain the devil to even negotiate for a deal, you cannot tell me to say that that deal is for anybody's interest apart from you and the devil. You cannot negotiate on behalf of Gambians with the devil. That's what Barrow did. That's what Mama Kandeh did. And it's proven that they don't have interest of the people. It's not that because of they say it, but what they do. It's a deal with the devil. As I said, a deal with the devil is this. Going on to have anything to do with him, apart from going after him to make sure justice is dispensed, is showing solidarity with the victims. Both of them have never shown solidarity with the victims. They don't talk about the victims. They don't show solidarity with the victims. This is the deal with the devil. If anyone wants to sell that idiocy of saying that it's about peace, it's about reconciliation, it's a blue lie. It's a fabrication, it's a lie. There's no way we expect to have such peace without justice. The reason the ICC was instituted is to recognize this. Yes, reconciliation is part of the process, but something comes before that. Impunity. You think a society can just draw a line and move on and continue to empower criminals? You think what sort of government do we have now, and what sort of government we will have if Adama Barrow continues? It's APRC government. What government you think we have if Mama Kandeh continues? It's APRC government. You see, that's the politics there. I don't even go to his character or his qualifications or anything. If the Gambia constitution, the bar is that low for anybody to qualify, that's us, and that's our problem. That's our problem. But when it comes to the dealing with this dictatorship, the standing up with the victims, we will have our voice. Right? If any non-entity can come and convince us for us to vote for him, that's our problem, collectively, because we allow that. But personally, we owe it to ourselves, if we are conscious, to do something about it. This is a deal with the devil. What else can you have a deal with the devil? And say that it's the interest of the people, it's the interest of the victims. You have never shown solidarity with the victims. You have never advocated for the victims. That's the lowest hanging fruit. Before we move on to the other things, the justice part is very important. And people that lie about Rwanda, that your Rwanda is a broader, sorry, it's just a lie. Rwanda is still even illegally prosecuting. We don't talk about illegal prosecution. Illegally prosecuting people, and some of them might not even. It might be political, might be other reasons for doing that. They're going after them. They're going assassinating people they perceive to have caused the genocide. We are not taking examples from Rwanda for justice. No. We're too civilized for that. We should be civilized for that. We don't take examples for how they dealt with the district. It's not. Unless you don't understand what actually happened in Rwanda. Unless you accept the one-sided narratives. But we know that they are going after them. They're assassinating people in South Africa. They're adopting people from different places. They're prosecuting people in many areas. Don't give me an example of South Africa. The South Africa we don't want. Go and ask the average. We have seen the riots in South Africa. You think what causes that? Because of the issues are not addressed. When Winnie Mandela was prosecuted, Winnie was prosecuted. Botha and others were never. The entire system of the apartheid is still on. The only difference is the ANC are now part of it. The elites of the ANC, but the black people, the majority, are still suffering the same suffering or even worse, because now it's been done by their own people. Don't give me that example. Don't give me an example of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone had special courts. Our own brother, Jibu Jane, was a judge at the special courts. How can we not know? How can we not know? Don't give me that. And Gambia was not Sierra Leone. What happened in Gambia was different from what happened in Sierra Leone. Gambia was not Liberia. And if you think the Liberia have achieved peace, just wait. If you understand the history, if you understand what's going on, just look at what's happening in Ethiopia. You think what happened in Ethiopia is an accident? What happened in Ethiopia is new? This is what happened if governance failed. And governance has failed in Ethiopia ever. This happened when dictators leave a country and things have not been tidied up properly. We are not all these countries. We have a criminal, which is enablers, and they committed crimes. We cannot paint the entire country as complicit. No. We know the people that committed the crimes. And reconciliation. If people that know Yahya Jammeh, one, he have never come out to accept the crimes that he have committed. He have not come out to even tell us what happens to the disappearance. He have not asked for forgiveness. And you talking about that this is the person you're going to reconcile with. And Gambians will reconcile with him because you can reconcile with him, the devil. You want to baptize the devil unto to Gambians. That's not it. It's just political opportunism. He doesn't care about Gambians. He doesn't care about Gambians. That's the fact. It's all about his lifestyle. Politics, he went into politics, Mama Kandeh went into politics for his lifestyle. And look at the composition of the executive, look at everything that GDC does. You understand what it's all about. And we have to move away from that. We have to move away from that. The lines are drawn. The lines are drawn. It's coming more, I mean, for some people now, what we knew before today. We talked about it and we are vindicated. What MOU it is, what peace, what reconciliation. It's a scam. Let's move on to, as I said, it's just an update. We deal this with better as the campaign goes on. The pending drug case. Gambia, we have to be very careful. Another reason why we cannot have a government like Adama Barrow. It's just the government of the APRC. And it's even getting worse because of the lack of control in what is happening. The APRC was very bad. And if you think that we cannot get back there, I'll tell you, we will get worse than that, because the lack of control would just, result to all out conflict. One thing the dictator was good with was to put control mechanisms around it, which was fear, which was the physical things. That's what dictatorship does. And if you come and you not do the right things, build the institutions, make sure you rehabilitate the people, what will happen? And bring about justice. You said that, oh, you see, the dictator was more effective. The effectiveness of this dictator is not what we want. We are civilized people. We want a good governance. It's possible. But no. Our case is more mirrored to what happened in Ghana. And it's not exactly the same. More mirrored to Ghana, it's not exactly the same. And Ghana have improved. We need to improve by applying good governance. But in this case, let me bring another aspect of the drugs. You see, I said corruption, incompetence, and corruption. That's what we have in place. And the drug trade, this infrastructure or these networks have been there from the First Republic, which was just a little bit of it. Individuals doubling in. But the dictator industrialized it. We have the evidence. We all know what have happened. We have had all these things been happening. But since 4 years, we have had more. The tip of the iceberg is three tons of cocaine, 2 tons of cocaine. God knows how many of cocaine somewhere else, how many hashes somewhere else, and other things. Within 4 years. And this is when you hear these finds, they are the tip of the iceberg. We don't know other things that have not been found. There are networks of people operating. And these people, as we said, it's a network, it's a cartel. And from South Americans to Hezbollah, Lebanese, guerrillas, what do you call them, freedom fighters, revolutionaries, terrorists, whatever they label them. And Gambians. Gambians who? Political patrons. Associated with, it was the dictator, now associated with Barrow. And another infrastructure of Gambian facilitators doing the level of it. And now these are Gambians from privileged backgrounds. We are going to name them. We are just being responsible with evidence and collaborating, and there's a court going on in Senegal. We don't want to jeopardize the trial or this. We are not, I'm not saying that we're not interested in the small players. No, we want to really, because if you really want to get rid of this, we have to expose the big players. That's why we're taking this on. That's why we are not yapping names out. We understand the network and we're going through the network. We got names. We are trying to collaborate some of this evidence, and we're going to come out with it. Still, the government. I'm talking about the latest 2 tons of cocaine. Everything originated from Gambia for where it was apprehended. The boat was registered in the Gambia. The boat was refurbished in the Gambia. The boat was launched from the Gambia. And the Gambia government still have not and will not. And I'll tell you, on fact that Barrow knows about it, because one of the people that become, I'm not sure he's a victim or an actor. That's what I'm saying. That's why some of these people, we are not naming them first. We are trying to verify this. Were they aware of what they're getting themselves into? Try to, see Barrow. And some of the people involved, the Gambians involved, are in Guinea-Bissau. And they are political patrons of Barrow. Just as what happened in the 3 tons of cocaine. Our investigations are pending. And we have a little bit of more to bring out, but we don't want it to be drowned in the nomination euphoria. We are leaving the nomination to go through and die out, and we are going to come out. But we are continuing. And another aspect of the investigations in Senegal too. We are linking up with people in Senegal to try to get the bottom of some of the things that is linked to the Gambia. And we are listening to the case too to see whether some of the evidence we have will be collaborated. Some of the evidence will be collaborated from there, then we can bring it up, because it seems the Gambian media are not interested. Gambian politicians are not interested. We'll try and bring it out there. And why we're doing this is 2 things. We are trying to protect the people who might have felt victim, just as what happened to the young gentleman, Sirif Njai, who is still been locked up for just being, around the person, and he is not likely to have any influence on what had happened. But he should have been a witness, but now he's a victim. And Banta and everybody associated with Banta, they know them, but they are not going after them. We don't want that to happen to other young Gambians, because some other young Gambians were around this boat. They dealt with this boat. But we have information now about how come some of the Gambians did not know what was inside that boat, because the Sierra Leonean in the cargo was a security guard. He was securing certain locations, and they could not have reached there. They don't know. They had a suspicion that something was not right, but they thought they just had their stuff in there they don't want people to access. That's why we have information. All this, we will bring them up. And the final aspect that we want to have an update to, again, is the cartel and the corruption. And people right now, I have not seen, probably some of you have. And if I have not seen something, I'm not saying it's not existence, because I do spend considerable time on social media and follow it. But I have not seen any announcement from the government. I've not seen any reports from the press about the shortage of petrol, fuel, and it's gone to this thing. And if I say from the press, I'm not expecting also there's a shortage of petrol. That's it. I would expect them to go and find out why. They should know the stakeholders, interview the stakeholders, and ask them why. And I have done this. I've done this. My latest article, which I want to go through just to finish up this program, as I say, it's just an update. The last article I put together is actually covered the entire transactions, because as I said, when we start our investigations, when we start to report things, we do it for strategic reasons, because again too, we keep it in the news, but we try to get other things add up, and that's how things, we get the information come out to add up. The background of the fuel shortage, I said first, Barrow and his cabal, Ababakar Jawara, corruption practice is causing huge economic loss and posing the threat to our national security. And someone texts me, oh, how can be this of national security? Energy is national security. I'll tell you that. You think the lights are not on? You think that's what risk does it pose to society? Lights are not on. You think delivery trucks are not delivering services? What risks does it pose to society? Do we understand the chain, the networks, how society operates? We know NAWEC is not regular. Some of the hospitals, some of the critical sectors, industries have to have a backup, and those backups are using gas well. You think lack of gas well, what does it do to those sectors, critical sectors? What does it do to our economy? Some of the ambulances probably even run on petrol, on gas well. What about the people going to work? Commercial drivers, mainly buses and vans run on gas well. You think that's not a national security issue? That's what I try to explain on this national issue. But what led us to this is corruption. You see, always corruption. Because of Barra is interested in money. He doesn't care what happens. He just gets the money. And again, the evidence is here. Look at his wealth. I know he's not going to declare his wealth to the IC, but we know some of it. Some of it's been reported in Dakar and other places, but in Seattle itself, he bought a property within a year coming to, and we know the transaction, how that transaction went on. And, let's wait. We'll see what's going to happen to that property. We know about the property he bought in Fajara, how the transaction went on. They think they covered themselves up. You see, and other properties transactions done on properties in Bakau, just opposite Bakau School. Properties in Tangier, twin properties in Tangier. What about what he's done in Makamakunda? What about his nephew's properties? Overnight. You see, these are all the proof that he is taking money. He's taking kickbacks, and there will be witnesses that know about the kickbacks. We'll go on that. But the development is, I said, new development in the fuel crisis. Background content. First, we had established the interference of both the Minister of Finance and Energy Ministry in regulating the price of petrol, disregarding the world market price for political reasons to avoid a price hike during the election period, leading the importers refusing to import fuel supplies as it causes them economic loss, financial loss. What first happened? We all know world oil prices have been going up, and it will affect the retail pump of this thing, unless government have a mechanism that will intervene to subsidize, probably remove the tax or other things. Some countries do have oil subsidy. In Nigeria and others, even but Nigeria or even some oil producing nations have taken out some form of subsidy out of the distribution or sales of fuel for domestic use. Now, in the Gambia, the only mechanism we have is to take off the tax, then the retailer would be able to sell at an acceptable price, or try and regulate the prices. But you cannot force a regulation. You cannot force a regulation because people are in business to make profit. Because if they don't make profit, they will not be sustainable. And the oil pricings are very volatile. Now, you cannot, the Minister of Finance and Minister of Energy, instead of doing the interest of the state, the country, they went and tried to do the interest of Barra. We have to accept these facts. Unless we manage our economy better, to invest in productive in sectors where we'll have better yield, make profit, so that we can reduce taxes in or subsidize certain critical areas in order to help that productivity as well and sustainable living. Unless we have a proper economic management, we'll be bound to be raising prices due to tax. We depend on tax. Now, this is the reality. These businessmen, they try to force this business to say that this is important, which are few, probably 5 legitimate importers. that no, you cannot raise the price. And those people said we can't then import because we cannot buy it from this market, from the markets of this, pay transportation and everything, and end up selling it at a loss. We can't afford that. And people that know the business of oil, you have to order in volume in order to make profit. Volumes to make profit. I mean, it's a regulated industry. That's one. This is one reason. Now the importation was halted. Now what happens is we have reserves, because in West Africa we are one of the countries now that have one of the biggest, storage facility. And this is and when we say this, it's compared to our population. If you look at the population of Gambia and need, most of it, in fact, we have special fuel that we store in order to re-export. And that's why when we say that we are one of the countries, doesn't mean that our storage is bigger than Senegal. Senegal might be bigger, but if you look at the population of Senegal and the activities in their economy, they will be pumping out more fuel a day, and their storage will be kind of in distress rather than us. We can hold fuel longer. But what happened with this is the second part. I said we also explained the cause of the negative stock that happened at the main storage depot, Gam Petroleum, that Ababakar Jawara of Catch took the reserve from the tanks with the promise of expecting delivery within a reasonable time that he will replace back to the storage. Okay, what happened with the storage is we have a centralized storage depot called Gam Petroleum. Now, Mr. A, B, C, and D might be 4 importers. They might all import fuel, but the fuel will have to go in tanks. And there's no tank like tank for client A, tank for client B, or C, or D. Client A tank they just put it, all you have is you have your numbers. To say that client A have 1,000 liters, client B have 1,500 liters, client C have this, and D have that. But they are stored in tanks. Now, if client A comes out and take part of that, will be debited from the stock he have. Then that's how it goes. This is obviously to manage they cannot have different tanks being built for different clients. But again, there's another thing accepted in the running of the storage. If you are an importer and you need fuel and expecting fuel to be delivered within a reasonable time, you are allowed, obviously with proof, that my vessel is going to be in the Gambia on the 5th. Now the management of the storage can decide to say, yeah, we can give you the 500,000 liters that you demand, because in that way they have removed the stock out of the tanks. Now they created space for themselves. Now anybody that brings in fuel, that way they make business. It's like ensuring that their shortages will not be likely, because fuel will always be in circulation. But what happened is, if the person that promises to deliver, that he have a delivery, did not have a delivery, means that that person is actually stealing oil. Is stealing it, and it's going to cause economic loss to the storage company, Gam Petroleum, which is technically owned by government and shareholders of government, and it's going to likely cause scarcity. This is what was happening here. Because of now, fuel was not imported, because of the importer said they're not going to import, because of they cannot afford to import and sell at a certain price. And Mambur Njai and what's his name, Fafa Sanyang, have to be held responsible for this. Where are our journalists to go and ask them the questions? Because of what? You don't want prices to go up during election time. That's the failure of your government. Let them go and explain to the public. Let the opposition go and explain to the public why this thing happened, or why this thing should not have happened. Now, this thing had happened. Now, Jawara went and took something without having any deliveries, expecting any delivery. I'll explain what happened, why that happened. Now, what was left at the tank, what was left, the last drop was given to Jawara, Ababakar Jawara. Now, why would we take our reserve and give it, even if the company regulations or the policy agreement with other importers allows another importer to come and take fuel in expectation of delivery? I think it did not make sense that the reserve was given, especially if that reserve is not going into circulation. I mean circulation, it's not going to the petrol pumps, it's not going to different sectors. Because when you put it in the petrol pumps, different sectors would have access to it. But if the stock is taken and given to a specific institution, that institution is going to bank that. He's going to store that in his with his capacity for him to use. He's not sharing it with other institutions or in the industry or the private sector. And this is what have happened with the issue. Now, the decisions were taken. We have to ask ourselves, why did Ababakar Jawara have access to this? You see, that's why I'm talking about Barrow, political patron. You see, the Waggers, the Jawaras, all the people around him would have whatever they want. The managing directors that have the guts to say no are not in this government anymore. I give you an example. Someone like Mohammed Manjang would have said no. And other people would have said no. But in this government, saying no means you are out. Now, I am not saying that the managing director was forced. It's for him to tell us. I'm not saying that managing director was bribed. It's for him to admit. But it's for us to hold him accountable. It's for the journalists to investigate and report. It's for the political party to agitate and ask questions. It's for Parliament to call them, call the energy minister, call the finance minister to find out about these price regulations. Why did it happen? And why did they put the country at risk? It's for the Parliament to call the board of directors for Gum Petroleum. And you'll be surprised if you know the composition of the board of directors, their relationship with Barrow. Now, these are the reasons that causes the shortage of fuel. Now, the economic loss to government, economic loss to industries, because these industries, the less money they make, the less they pay tax. The more money they make, the more money they pay tax to government. Most of the government workers, be doctors, nurses, and most of these people are using public transport. The lack of public transport is going to affect their work, productivity in the economy itself, in services and everything else. Let's go on. The private citizens who are doing the other microeconomic activities would not be empowered to do that. The women that go to markets to get stuff to bring it, let's go on. That's why it's a national security issue, not only economic loss, but it's done by this government. What do you think is going to happen? You think this government will get better when they voted in? No. When we vote them in, this is deciding moment that they will go and say that, yeah, we did well, and they will do worse. Because we have not taught them a lesson. We have not taught them a lesson. The corruption would be more. Ababakar Jawara would be chewing more of everything. I'll come to Ababakar Jawara. The other thing that happened says, now, why did Ababakar Jawara take this petrol? Ababakar Jawara won a bit. Let me just see where I've written it. It will be easier to just read it. Ababakar Jawara failed to secure supplies from the international markets to deliver fuel to Norway as they agreed. Ababakar Jawara, okay, let me just start it from here. The story started with Ababakar Jawara of Kach winning the tender bid to supply Norway with fuel and lubricant by putting up the lowest bid that was ludicrously cheap. The tender board should have disqualified the tender as it cannot be delivered. What happened here, Ababakar Jawara now is a fuel importer as well. Now you see, he is spreading his tentacles. This guy have nothing. He was not rich. This is a lie. He was in China doing freighting, helping people to freight, not issuing own things, in fact. Helping freight. That's what he's doing in China. The minute Adam Barrow come into government, when he was in China, he wanted a factory. He wanted a factory to produce process tomatoes. All it is to have the installation and import the tomato puree and put it in containers. That was it was. Packaging. Now, he scammed Jammeh by giving Jammeh a vehicle or two. And Jammeh gave him the so-called rights and notoriety of recognitions to give him land somewhere in, I think, Lamin area or somewhere area, and he have the land and everything. Now he was trying to use, you see, that's what they do. They invest a little, have the recognition, have the letters, have everything from government, and they take that to sell the idea to investors. He went to China to try to get a Chinese partner that will, come into business with him in the Gambia. I have the land, I have the government support, we can go in with these documents. If you come with your little you have, we can go to the banks, and because of that, they will give us this thing, we can build a factory. That's how it works. Now, with Jammeh, it did not progress. To the extent that Jammeh wanted to, in fact, impound the land again, take it back, because of the agreed period have elapsed. Now, he could not deliver. And God have it, Barrow came in and he ran to Barrow. And he sold this idea to Barrow. And now, before that, the idea walked in, they took Barrow to Congo for a smuggling trip. They went and smuggled. Barrow helped them to smuggle, or some of them to smuggle, to smuggle things into the Gambia. And from there on, that's where they built up. He moved from China, from trading this thing, come straight away. Barrow gave him our mining rights. It's easy. You have a mine, you just contact their companies around. Just tell them, look, I have a mining rights. I have 100% rights on this. Now government, I give 20% to government from the proceeds of the mine. Now come in, I'll give you a share, percentage on this. Now you bring your expertise, you bring everything. That's all he does. You see, Barrow is making him a millionaire now. Within 1 year, what do they want? He went to China, then he went to China and got this Chinese guy now, because now he can really prove to the Chinese guys that he have, what it takes to bring in this. The Chinese came with the investment. He wanted to steal the investment. The Chinese took the good parts of this thing and left him with it. That's why he doesn't have a factory. But this guy now continue to import weapons, import different things, and run his business. Barrow made this guy who he is today. But now he's getting into everything. Now he went into the fuel importation. Fuel importation is not a straightforward business. It needs it's technical. It needs a bit of expertise. Yeah, you got to be very smart and have people that have the capacity to do this. He has not. He's just a scammer. He has seen an opportunity. You know, the fuel importation is in millions of dollars. It's in millions of dollars. It's real money. And if you monopolize that market, able to have rights, win contracts with NAWEC, heavy fuel, lubricant, gas oil, and the corruption in it, you make real money. And he managed to get this. And again, because of he is Ababakar Jawara. And what he did was, and what they do is, they do the bidding. And now to justify giving it to Ababakar Jawara, he actually gave a negative bid. He gave a price that was so ridiculous. Because now, the people that, I call them the tender board. I don't think we have a tender board anymore. I mean the people that look at it. And this is the NAWEC board board of directors, the NAWEC management, and the Minister of Energy, Minister of Finance. These are the stakeholders. They need to be held responsible for this. Now, he gave a bid, and that bid, they have to look at this bid. The bid have to, make sense. The world market price. But technically, apparently, even the price he gave cannot be worked out. It didn't work out. But they gave him the contract to say that he have submitted the lowest bid. It's not the lowest bid. It should be the lowest competitive bid. A competitive bid that is rational, that is real. Look at the price of the import, the transportation, and other associated tax, and these things, and the passing margins, overheads, and say, yeah, the person can able to sell it for this. And you normally people that supervise bid will have a guided price. Know that, look, this bid cannot be cheaper than this, and we should not let it be higher than this. Should be in between. Now let's see who comes in between this, who is more competitive, and then we look at the background of that person. Have it delivered before? Have it worked in this industry before? If he's new, why would we take the risk and go with a new person? Have he presented something? Probably he have bought in a company, so probably he have done something, revolutionized something, and you take the risk with that. But they gave it to Ababakar Jawara because it's Ababakar Jawara, because he's associated with Barrow. Barrow will get the kickbacks. Now, he went out to the international market. Obviously, nobody will sell him oil. You see, selling oil to, it's not only that you have money, they will sell it to you. You have to have the expertise. You have to have things that get you there. You just don't go and say, I want oil, bring it. Probably he doesn't know how to do these things. He went out there, he did not have oil to bring to the Gambia. Now, NAWEC needs oil. The contract needs to be serviced. Then what happened? He went to Gum Petroleum. Now, again, I'm not saying, what I am saying here is, I know it's not right. Doesn't make sense to take your reserve and give it to one entity. You see, what even helped us few days, because Jar Oil have many substations, petrol stations, and his substations were completely filled. Now that took time to finish. Most petrol stations finished before Jar Oil. Now another thing Jar Oil was doing was moving petrol from the substations that were not busy, bringing it to substations that are busy. Now, this causes to this because of either Ababakar bribed the management in order to be given something that he is not belonging to him, or Ababakar used influence from top Barrow. Because when you see Ababakar, this is what used to happen in Yaya days. Certain people, Amadou Samba and others, can come and assert themselves. And you know that it's Amadou Samba. If I don't do it, this thing will come from the president. If I don't sell my property, I'll be in problem. If I don't give him this, I'll be in problem. You see, this is the same thing we are having here. Now, Ababakar took this petrol, fuel, and take it to NAWEC. NAWEC bunked that petrol, fuel. It's not petrol, it's the gas oil. Bank it out there. Now the country is in a standstill. This is what happened. Now, it's going to cause economic loss already in government, the transaction in the economy and everything else. But again, to replace that fuel needed to be replaced. You think who is going to incur the cost? The people that own fuel will expect fuel, and now those people are sitting there. It's not even fair to them. They have lost. And I don't know what the policy is. There should be penalties to the company, or I'll take the Gum Petroleum to court because they break my contract. I put in fuel there for when I need it, I get it. I am paying for storage for when I need it, I get it. If I need my petrol to make money and I cannot access that petrol to make money, I am losing money. I think they should take Gum Petroleum to the courts and get their money back. Now, if that happens, who's going to incur the cost? The people. That's our profits been paid to litigation. Because of who? Barrow and Ababakar Jawara have stole stuff from us. Gambia, this is what we have now. Be the drugs, be the corruption. We see many areas you can go on, many areas of corruption. These are big items. Now the country is in a standstill. People don't turn up to work. I don't have a boss to come to work. What can happen? Nothing. Productivity affected. This is the situation we have. Again, thank you guys. As I said, it was just going to be a update on issues that we will need to tackle on after this nomination. But to say again, I will be coming on live from the Gambia 24 TV, and I am associating with the TV Understanding, been satisfied that they are independent, they are non-political, and they are youths that appreciated what I do, and they ask for my support and help to grow their network, to share my content with them. That's what they want, and I am willing to do that for them, because I don't monetize what I do, but I can support other people to grow. And there are young people who are trying to get into the media business, to grow themselves. I'll give my time as much as possible. I have invited, if you are a viewer, or if you have listened to the, if you follow this program, you can check your notifications. I have invited everybody that follows me to like the page, the Gambia 24 TV, in order to follow me on there. Thank you very much. Yeah, now the now consume both gas oil and HFO, and if they run out of HFO, they do use gas oil in those engines. I'll tell you that. Thank you, Mr. Segal. Thank you. Okay, guys, and have a good day. And we'll come back next week and have more dialogue, but the ball is on our court. If we, and another point I just left is the drug epidemic, the crime in the country. If we don't cut the head of the snake, of this drug cartel, and Barrow cannot cut it because of he is compromised with them, the youths would not. The youths cannot be salvaged. And the crime is not this thing. And yesterday I had someone who was telling me, look, there's a lot of armed robbery going on. I said, why is it not on the news? In the TDA, Tourist Development Area. And now tourists are apparently apprehensive. Because they don't want to, you see, they are censoring even the news. That's why I said, I don't think we have the independent media that we think we have. And it's up to the politicians to go out there and agitate these things and inform the people and give hope to the people and tell them what they would do different. And if those people come in, we hold them accountable. And that does not give them breathing space and chance to deviate from our contract. This is the renewal of our contract. If we renew this contract, it means that we are happy with Barrow, and I'll tell you, we'll see the worst of it. I don't think Gambia will be anymore, because he is not in control of what is happening. He is in control of taking money, and he does not even know what's doing. Now the Ababakar Jawas and others are busy doing whatever they're doing. Now the drug cartels are busy using Gambia as a launching pad. We've seen that evidence. We are seeing the evidence on our youths, in the crime scene. Now we've seen the economy is completely hijacked. The mainstream, imagine the energy sector, fuel have just been hijacked by one person, Ababakar Jawara. One person have cost us all this, and the politicization. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good day. Jerry and Jeff.